Oh my god, here we go, guys. Here we go.
I knew it. And now look at me. Best of both worlds.
How do you shower? He has to get all of his clothes custom made. Does he use a really, really small toothbrush, like his regular one? Or did he make himself a large toothbrush? Does he drive a car? He can't fit in a car. Ugh. Bum 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 bugada digada da bum 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 Okay guys, the time has come. It is the end of the era. It is the end. It is the final movie of this marathon. I can't believe we're finally at the end. It's kind of blowing my mind a bit. I don't know what I'm gonna do when I'm not filming a bunch of Marvel movies every week for y'all. It's gonna be so strange filming these videos for other movies and other TV shows and stuff. Like, I'm not gonna be used to it. I'm used to doing Marvel. I'm wearing my Team Nat shirt today. I think I've worn this in a video. I think I maybe even wore it in Age of Ultron. I thought it was applicable with the whole thing that goes on at Vormir, this movie with Nat and with Clint. Now you may be asking, Rachel, are you Team Nat or Team Clint in terms of what happened at Vormir? I really can't decide because I don't want it to be Nat, but I also don't want it to be Clint solely because of his family. Just the thought of them all, you know, waking up from the snap to find that, like, the kid's father is dead and the wife, played by the girl who plays Velma in the live-action Scooby-Doo movies, I'm blanking on her name, but the thought of them all losing someone that they love is really heartbreaking. But I also don't want it to be Nat. But it's also like, if Clint didn't have a family, I'd be like, okay, Clint should have been the one so Nat could stay. But because of the family there, it makes me be like, but I don't want him either because I don't want those kids to lose their father. So I'm on the neither. I'm on the I hate Vormir train. And Vormir is terrible. And how dare Vormir put those characters in that position. But I'm still wearing Team Nat because, you know, Black Widow is coming out very soon as of the time I'm filming this. I think we have like a week. So yeah, let's just jump right on into Avengers Endgame. I love this movie, y'all. I have always considered it, since it came out, my favorite of the Marvel movies. That may be kind of an unpopular opinion. Honestly, when I remember it coming out, everyone was saying it was the best one. Everyone was saying it was their favorite. And then after some time, everyone started kind of going, you know, Endgame isn't as good as everyone thinks it is. And I'm here like, hello, I still adore this movie. Are you kidding? I think one of the reasons that a lot of people aren't as much of a fan of this movie as like Infinity War and some of the others is because of the decision that was made by Steve Rogers of him going back to Peggy in the 1940s versus staying and being with everyone else and being with Bucky and all that. And here's my take on that. I want to give my opinion on this before the movie starts. Do I think he should have stayed with Bucky because him and Bucky were finally going to be able to have some time together after the chaos of everything that happened in Winter Soldier, Civil War, having to be on the run, Bucky healing in Wakanda, and now Bucky is finally really close to being healed and stuff, and you know, he's the most normal he's been since the 1940s. And like, should he have been able to have some time with Steve, his only friend from his time period, after all of this trauma ends? Yes, 100%. I think it is really upsetting that Steve Rogers did that to Bucky, and I don't think he can even consulted him. Maybe he did, but I don't think he did. But also, then I think back to 15-year-old me who watched Captain America: The First Avenger for the first time and adored the relationship that we got, or the tease of one, between Peggy and Steve. And I feel like then seeing him get to go back to her in this movie in theaters really warmed that part of my heart that really shipped them in that movie. And also, I feel like it does end that arc. I feel like it wouldn't have been as satisfying to tease that all in Captain America: The First Avenger to then not pay it off, and I feel like it did pay that off. But also then, back to then the Bucky argument, there wasn't as big of a payoff between them two. It's like there kind of was, but we could have had more between them. It felt like their story was cut short. It felt like we didn't get that much of a resolution between them. And that was in sacrifice of us getting the resolution of him and Peggy. So it was literally gonna be an either or. And it's difficult for me wanting both. I'm really curious as to how the comics are going to affect all of my opinions on this once I do read them, because I am planning on reading a bunch of the comics. I want to get into the Marvel comic world eventually, and from what I've heard people say, all of these characters are like so much better in the comics and so much more fleshed out, as it usually is with an adaptation from something that you read to something that you watch. It's usually always, it's never as fleshed out as much as it is in the book or comic or whatever. And apparently Sharon Carter is like a million times better of a character in the comics, and she was like done dirty in the movies. And that may honestly for me be the reason why I prefer in the movies Peggy over Sharon, especially because we got Peggy first, and then it just felt like for people who were kind of rooting for Steve and Peggy, it seemed like Sharon was just coming in, and it kind of felt weird because it's like she's related to Peggy and he's in love with Peggy, but then now he kind of likes you too, and it just kind of feels all weird. But I feel like if I read the comics and I read where Sharon is a million times more fleshed out and the relationships are all way kind of longer in a sense, because, you know, they span probably over multiple comics, I may become way more on the side of Sharon Carter being with Steve. I don't know. I'm not like here like a diehard fan in terms of the Captain America story, like a diehard fan of anything. Like I'm not a diehard fan of Peggy and Steve together. I'm not a diehard fan of Sharon Carter and Steve, or Sharon Carter on her own. I'm not a diehard fan of Bucky. I love Bucky, but like none of the Captain America characters are really my all-time favorites. I love Steve Rogers in the sense of just how iconic he is, but even then in terms of my favorite characters, he's on the lower tier of my favorites, like probably the last of the favorites going on into then the other characters. My favorites are more in the realm of Thor, in the realm of Wanda and Vision, in the realm of Iron Man, in the realm of Spider-Man, all of them. Not saying that I don't like any of the characters within kind of then the Captain America sphere of his movies and all that. I love all their characters. It's just love versus like adore. So I forgot why I was talking about this. Oh, I was talking about why some people don't like the decisions that were made in Endgame. And I 100% see it. I was fine with it, but that's just because I liked that resolution from Captain America's first movie to this one, and Steve Rogers wise. And it also made 15-year-old me who shipped Peggy and Steve together happy. But then it also made 18-year-old me who loved Bucky as a character sad. So like I get both perspectives. Let's just get right on into the movie. This is gonna be a wild ride, guys.
Okay, hold on. Don't shoot.
The way that when this scene initially came on, like in the theaters, I knew instantly what was about to happen, and I just gasped. I was like, they are not gonna show this. They are not gonna show this.
Lila, let's go. Lila? Honey?
That's traumatizing. That's literally traumatizing, especially if you don't know what's happening with Thanos and all that. All of a sudden just, oh, everyone I love is gone. And what are the odds? Because it's supposed to be like 50-50. And there was what, like 2 or 3 kids there or whatever, and a wife, all of them gone, and not the husband. Like I feel like at least one other one would survive with him, just on the odds. But you know, he just had bad odds there.
That's a goal. We are now one apiece.
I would like to try again.
This is so cute, honestly. Having her play like a little like human game, I guess, and her taking it so intensely.
Congratulations. Fair game.
That's so cute. I love that. I love this dynamic. I wish we could have had more of this dynamic except for like after this scene. Oh my god, I just remembered how thin they make him look and how sick. Literally broke my heart when I first saw this. It's so sad to see. It's just heartbreaking to see for Robert Downey Jr. Oh, and maybe, like, cause she's part robot, she's, like, probably doing way better than him in terms of, like, I don't know, just kind of surviving. Like, does she need food to survive? How much more robot, android, cyborg is she than human? Because she can eat, we know that.
Oxygen will run out tomorrow morning.
See, she's giving it to him. She knows he needs it more. He needs it more. So, I'm kind of blanking here. Why can't they just fly the ship back home? I'm guessing it's, like, out of fuel. Maybe? Did they cover that? Exactly why? Captain Marvel! Thank God. About time. Why did you shave the beard? Worst mistake of his life. Even more than going back to be with Peggy. The worst mistake was shaving the beard. Look at Carol go. Literally carrying a ship while flying. Who knows how far she just carried it. It seemed like they were very far away from Earth. And she just carried this whole thing back down to them. She's incredible. She's incredible. Also, it's probably explained in the comics or something, but why doesn't Carol age? She became, like, powerful and all that stuff, like, within, I believe it was the 90s. I can't remember how long they said that she was gone after she got her powers in Captain Marvel, but it was within, like, that late 80s going into the 90s time that she gained her powers. So right now, she should be in her, like, 40s or 50s or something like that, and she still looks the exact same. Do her powers make her immortal? Is she immortal? Or does she live and age, like, does she live for a really long time and age very slowly? Kind of like a Thor or a Loki where, like, they look, you know, like they're in their 30s, but in reality, they're like 1,000 years old, 1,500 years old, or something like that. Is that kind of her deal, or is she actually immortal? Probably explained in the comics. Let me know what's going on there with age.
He thinks he failed, which of course he did, but, you know, there's a lot of that going around, ain't there?
Honestly, into this exact second, I thought you were Build-A-Bear.
Alright, this is the first time we get to see Tony with Rocket. Honestly, love that dynamic. Wish we could have gotten more.
You guys take care of him, and I'll bring him a Zorian elixir when I come back.
A Zorian elixir? I love her. I love her. She's so cool.
Who here hasn't been to space?
That is so crazy to think about how, like, Steve Rogers and Nat and Rhodey haven't been to space. Like, we've been to space, like, you know, in the, like, the Thor movies, technically, kind of, in a way. And then in Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff. So, like, we're used to it. And it's like, oh, yeah, this is new territory for them. Honestly, what does he do on this planet? Like, he's all alone. Does he have books that he's reading? I doubt there's any type of TV or movies. Does he just sit in his own thoughts all day and cook and mend his garden and literally that's all he does? Like, I imagine that would be fun for a while, but then you need some sort of something to make it so you're not just stuck in your thoughts all day. Where's your library, Thanos? Where's your form of entertainment on this planet all alone? This is just so great. Like, even though this scene ends up not really mattering too much, that's what I'm saying. Did you see what Thor just did? That's what needed to happen the first time. Cut off the arm with the Infinity Gauntlet so he can't use it. Oh, right. I forgot about that part. About the Infinity Stones being gone. Totally forgot. But honestly, other than that, that whole plan, just with what they all just did there, was so well executed. That element of surprise, it was perfect.
My father is many things. A liar is not one of them.
It could be a first time for everything. It could be his first time lying in his life. I know it's not, but, you know, theoretically. Can we talk about how beautiful this score is right now? This is beautiful, man. Oh my god. The rat was the one to bring Scott back? I didn't remember that that's what happened. That's kind of hilarious. Thank God that Scott is alive and, like, in this movie, because he's just literally becoming one of my favorite characters, and, like, we need him. This movie needed him. Imagine being in Scott's position. I felt like he was in there for, like, what, an hour or something like that? Comes out, half the world is gone. And it's also 5 years later. This even though it's like happy, it's also kind of heartbreaking that like he lost 5 years with her. But also, she does not look 5 years older than how she did in the second one, in Ant-Man and the Wasp. She should be maybe 14, between 14 and 16 maybe. She looks maybe, honestly, she looks like she could be 16. And her in Ant-Man and the Wasp was like maybe 11, possibly, maybe. It just doesn't seem to add up too much. She seems older than she should be. But also, this here is just so heartbreaking how much time he lost with her. Like, it's happy, but it's also kind of sad to me. I think this is the longest we've seen Nat's hair be, like, lengthwise in this movie, in this franchise. Just realized that.
Scott, are you okay?
Yeah.
Hold on, aren't they in New York? And he was in San Francisco. Did he get a flight, or did he drive in his van? Because his van is there. Did he drive across the country? And did we miss that?
Sorry, that must have been a very long 5 years.
Yeah, but that's just it. It wasn't. For me, it was 5 hours. See, the rules of
5 hours. So 5 hours for 5 years. That means 1 year in this realm is 1 hour in the quantum realm. That's incredible. That's crazy. This is such an interesting dynamic here for Tony Stark. It shows how much he's changed and how much the whole ordeal with Thanos changed him, where before he lived in the lap of luxury, huge mansion, huge tower, the epitome of just a bunch of
Okay. You should not be wearing that, okay?
a bunch of technology everywhere, all that stuff, and going through the whole ordeal he went through and realizing just kind of what's the most important in life. Now he lives in a log cabin by the lake. I think that's just a really interesting development, just showing his change in thought and his change in character and all that.
no talking to our past selves, no betting on sporting events.
I'm gonna stop you right there, Scott. Are you seriously telling me that your plan to save the universe is based on Back to the Future?
The thing that's interesting about this, the whole rules of time travel and stuff, is over the dialogue online, ever since this movie came out, people have talked about how the rules of time travel presented in this movie make no sense, don't work, there's like plot holes, or it doesn't work or anything like that. Here's my opinion. My opinion is that I know nothing about time travel. Or like I know things, like I know kind of how it works in the movies, but it confuses me so much. So the ways in that people talk about how it doesn't make sense in this movie, it already doesn't make sense in my mind, so nothing makes sense. So I just kind of roll with it. It hurts my brain trying to make it make sense. So I'm not gonna even try and make it make sense. So if it already doesn't make sense, there's no way I'm gonna be able to even try and make it make sense in my brain. So I don't even try. I just roll with it, and I move on. And that's my opinion on the time travel in this movie.
But this is a second chance. I got my second chance right here, Kat. Can't roll the dice on it.
And that's the heartbreaking thing, is then he did take the chance, and he didn't survive it. And he never got to go back to his second chance, and he never got to go back to his daughter, and I'm just gonna stop talking about it because I'm starting to cry.
I know, it's crazy. I'm wearing shirts now.
So here are my thoughts on the whole Bruce Banner and the Hulk are one now, and he has conquered the Hulk. Proud of him, and I think on the rate of how his character development has gone with him and the Hulk, to the point where even in the last movie, he was literally trying to get the Hulk to come out, and the Hulk was refusing. This fits in that arc that we've been getting, in this character development. It fits. But is it still so weird? Yes. Do I wish we could have gotten more of Bruce Banner as Mark Ruffalo as himself? Yes. It's weird, but like it makes sense and it's fine with his character, but it's just still so strange.
I put the brains and the brawn together, and now look at me. Best of both worlds.
How do you shower? Did he build himself a very tall shower and like wide to make it so he can fit and shower? He has to get all of his clothes custom made. He has to get clothes custom made to fit how tall he is now. Does he use a really, really small toothbrush like his regular one, or did he make himself a large toothbrush? I feel like with his large hands it'd be difficult to grasp a toothbrush, like a regular human-sized one. Does he drive a car? He can't fit in a car. Did he make himself a car that fits the Hulk? I feel like that'd be too big for roads. I feel like he'd get pulled over like, sir, you are driving like a huge monster truck on a road with regular cars. crazy how whatever he saw there, like whatever he's seeing on his screen there that I know I would not understand with my own eyes, he's like, oh, I just solved it. There's time travel. I just did it. It's like, how are you able to know all that from just an image? You're so smart.
It's baby.
It's Scott.
As a baby.
He'll grow.
Bring Scott back.
He'll grow. We don't have time to wait 30 years or whatever for him to grow.
Time travel.
You did it. He didn't do it. He did something. Was it the right something? No. But it was something. See, the tacos are so tiny. All the food that Hulk is eating is not the right proportion for him. It's like he's eating finger food. See, he can't fit in a car. He can never ride in a car again unless he goes back to his regular self. It's crazy how just living on Earth and having to wear like human clothing makes all the Asgardians that are left look like just regular human beings. Like they don't look like godly beings anymore.
Boys! Oh my god! Oh my god, it's so good to see you.
This was one of the biggest shocks for me in the MCU, seeing Thor like this. I could not believe it. I never thought we would see Thor look not like a god. Like, he still is a god, obviously, but like not in shape and in his typical physique he's in. Like, I would have never expected that, and it threw me off so much. Just like how Hulk being how he is threw me off. It's like it was a 1-2 punch. First Hulk, now Thor. What is up, everyone? It's just so weird. And like we see from Thor Love and Thunder, obviously he's gonna get back in his typical shape. My question, again, as I mentioned, I think it was either this video or maybe Phase 3 Part 1, we see in the one image that's come out, or the couple of images that have come out, that Thor still has the long hair again. Is he gonna decide to cut his hair again? I sure hope so, because he had never looked better than he did in Thor Ragnarok and in Infinity War. His best look, and I want it back desperately. But on the other side though, I do think that this is a very interesting route that they brought Thor's character, and it really shows just how much everything that happened just messed him up. And it really does develop his character. It shows that he has not taken this lightly. Just like first lost his home, then lost half his people, then lost half of literally all people, and blames himself for what happens, thinks he failed, thinks that it was his fault. Lost his brother, lost his best friend, lost his parents, lost his sister, even though I don't think that was much of a loss for him, but you know what happened. Like, that's all just a lot to happen within, how long has it been? Well, at this point, obviously, it's been 5 years, but maybe prior to the 5-year jump, how long was Thor Ragnarok before Infinity War? Not long. It was right before Infinity War happened. So I imagine that literally he lost all of that within, I'd say, like an 8-month to a year span. Maybe even less than that. Maybe even a 4 to 6 month span. Like, that's just, he's a god, but that's a lot on you mentally.
Thor, he's back. That kid on the TV just called me a dickhead again.
The fact that they're playing Fortnite was very surreal for 2019 me, because as many people know, like, Fortnite was the biggest thing in the world when it got big for the first time, and then seeing it be portrayed in a movie literally still at the time when it was huge pretty much was just kind of very jarring. This whole part here with like Hawkeye becoming, I guess a vigilante is the term for it here, was such a arc I did not expect. Like, I expected him to be angry, but like the way that it turned him into a literal murderer, was not expecting that from, especially because of how like kind of cool, calm, and collected he was in literally every single movie he was in, and all of a sudden, boom, murderer. Also, I think it's really interesting though, for this time in his life, he did not use his bow and arrow. He instead went to like blades. I think that shows that like he's not himself, and like he doesn't feel like necessarily like prideful, or like he doesn't feel like himself in what he's doing. And like his bow and arrows are an extension of bows and arrows. His bow and arrow is an extension like of him, and it kind of does seem like he maybe feels shameful for doing this type of stuff, and it's like he has no choice or whatever.
Hey, easy.
I love the designs of their time travel suits. So sleek, so great. I love it.
All right, we have a plan. 6 stones, 3 teams, 1 shot.
When this was happening in theaters, the first time I saw it, I got so giddy because I saw where this was going. I saw, oh my god, we are going back to previous moments in other movies, and these people are teaming up and going back to these moments, and stuff is gonna happen, and it's gonna be so good, and I was so excited. This was right up my alley. I loved this. Look at them in these suits. They look incredible. Personally, the suit looks best on Nat and Steve and Tony from what I saw, but it looks great on all of them. They look so good.
Get the stones, get them back.
Oh, look at that. Oh, that's an iconic shot. All their fists in a little circle. Iconic.
This is the fight of our lives, and we're gonna win.
I feel like Tony's hair has gotten slightly blonder. I think it's also from like turning gray. They're portraying how he's getting older, and like the gray is kind of a blondish gray in a way. Oh my god, look at them all go! Oh, that's so fun. That's so fun. Oh my god, I freaked out. I was freaking out literally half this movie when I first saw it. Oh, this is so exciting. Oh, and then we get to see this shot again. Oh my god. Oh, look how far we've come.
I'd be careful going that way. We just had the floors waxed.
Yeah, so see, this is the scene that made me forget that the Ancient One died in Doctor Strange. It had been like 3 years and I hadn't seen Doctor Strange since it was in theaters. So I had completely forgotten that she's dead in our current reality and time.
You can do this.
I think it's so interesting how the contact, or not the contact, but the glass robotic type eye that Rocket gave Thor, they made it a different color. They could have easily made it the exact same color as his other eye, but no, now he's doing the whole, I can't remember what that is, what it's called when you have one eye that's one color and one eye that's the other. They made it so now Thor has that, which is a really interesting choice. They could have easily just made it so it was the same color, so then he looks like it's just his natural eyes, you know?
1 stone is in 6, Nebula.
It's a start.
I feel like during this scene, I was already thinking up, oh my god, Gamora's alive here. Is this going to be our way of getting Gamora back? I think I was right. I think I was thinking that. I think I was on the right track here.
Who was that?
I don't know. I had a splitting.
This is so frustrating. Like, of course, something were to happen to make it so that Nebula from 2023 or whatever, somehow it gets connected to 2014 Nebula and it screws everything up. Like, obviously everything gets fixed in the end, but like, oh, everything could have been so much easier if just that hadn't happened right there. I remember whenever this movie came out, I know I keep referencing like then, but anyways, everyone was talking about how that was such a callback to the comics, and I actually understood that because even though I haven't read the comics, I remember, I think it was in like 2015, 2016, when the comic came out that where Captain America was actually like a Hydra agent or whatever, like he was a part of Hydra, and he was like a bad guy, and there was this like iconic image of him from the comics, and like I think it was like back was turned and he was like looking over his shoulder and he was saying "Hail Hydra," and it kind of blew up the internet, so much so that me, someone who didn't read the comics, knew about it. It was like trending online. Everyone was talking about it because I don't think it'd ever been done in the comics yet. He'd never been a bad guy in Hydra. So then when they did this in the movie and everyone was like, oh my god, they're making a callback or they're referencing that big moment that happened in the comics a couple of years ago. And I was like, oh yeah, I remembered that. Like, it made me feel so much included in the comic book community. And I was like, I haven't read these yet, but I understood. I got it, guys. I know that. Anyways, that's an iconic scene. That's an iconic line. I love that. I love how they show Loki noticing that. Like, Loki is so smart. Of course, he would notice it when no one else would. And then this happens. Oh my god, this moment. The moment that started the whole events of the Loki show, the moment that freaked me out in theaters, I was like, we're getting more Loki. This means we're getting more Loki. I knew immediately. I was like, he did it. He got out. We're gonna get more Loki. Oh, that is such a beautiful shot. Literally 2 Steve Rogers and their shields coming together. That is brilliant, honestly. And then him making fun of his own iconic line, I can do this all day. Like, it's just so good. This is just so good. It's like it's calling back to all of some of the best things about the MCU and turning some of them on their heads, making fun of some of them.
Strange, he gave it away. He gave it to Thanos.
Willingly?
Yes.
Hold on. Maybe I missed something this time around. But how does she know about Doctor Strange? This is 2012. I mean, I guess she is a genius. Maybe she already knows that he's going to be coming. She knows a lot, so I wouldn't be surprised. But I don't remember if that's been established. So, like, how does she know about Doctor Strange yet? He doesn't meet her for like another 4 years or something. I guess she just knows. I guess she's a genius.
There's another consciousness sharing her network. Another Nebula.
Maybe Nebula shouldn't have gone to this timeline where she's there. Maybe. She could have been one of the ones to go to Asgard or to 2012 New York.
You're better off leaving the sneaking to your brother.
I was seeking, just going for a walk, and then,
What are you wearing?
Are you not questioning how he looks completely different than how you saw him probably a couple hours before this?
You're not the Thor I know at all, are you?
Yes, I am.
The future hasn't been kind to you, has it?
She knows immediately. A mother always knows.
I really need to talk to you.
We can talk.
That whole scene right there with Natalie Portman blew my mind because I knew, oh, that could have been footage from Thor Ragnarok because I hadn't seen Thor Ragnarok. But part of me was like, oh my god, some of these shots, just how they are angled and stuff, it seems like they had to film these possibly new. Like that whole thing before where she was asking if they have any pants, if that's an option, and versus the like gown or dress she wears. And then that scene of her waking up, those weren't in Thor Ragnarok, which means, or Thor the Dark World, which means Natalie Portman had to come back for this movie to film those additional scenes. And I can't remember, I think this came out before it was announced that she was gonna be in Thor 4. I'm very positive that this was before that. This movie came out before that. So I remember I was so ecstatic in theaters seeing her in this. I was just so happy that we were getting to see her in the MCU again. It felt like it was never gonna happen again. I was like, oh, I got like my last little moments besides Thor the Dark World of her in the MCU. Little did I know that I think like 3 months later or something, it was announced that she was gonna be in Thor 4. Oh, that's so exciting. Like, thank God. He needed Mjolnir back. He needed it. Obviously you are. Thank God. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Stormbreaker. Stormbreaker is really cool, but like, thank God. I love how we get to see this scene again. Literally one of the best scenes in Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, thank God we're getting to see it again. It's so fun.
Come and get your love.
And then they turn it on his head and show us what it looks like without the epic song in the background and just how silly he is.
Thank you, daughter. Perhaps I treated you too harshly.
One thing that I think is so interesting about these memories he's getting to see right here is because in pretty much all of them, I think, Gamora is already dead on Vormir, or at least she's not in that specific picture, so it makes Nebula look like the only betrayer and the only one to turn to the good side, so it makes him trust Gamora more. It makes Gamora look like the one who stayed on the evil side the whole time, when actually she was the one to change over to the good side first. It's Yvette Nicole Brown from Drake and Josh. I was never expecting her to ever be in the MCU, so seeing her for the first time in this movie was such a delightful surprise. Like, what?
Hello, Potts. Yeah. That'd be swell. That way. Okay. Need your briefcase?
Seeing his dad really just threw him off entirely, which very understandable. I feel like, especially if your parents are dead, getting to see them again and getting to see them when they're so young would be just insane.
To be honest, some of our male guys aren't feeling that great.
They didn't open it, did they?
Yeah, they did. You better get down here.
That's so fascinating how, like, they de-aged him there, but then his voice sounds exactly the same. And I don't know what he sounded like when he was actually young, but it's like his voice doesn't seem to match young de-aged him that well. It's kind of a disconnect there.
How far along is she?
I don't know.
How would you not know how far along your own wife is? That's kind of important information. Apparently, according to the Russos, this is where Steve makes the decision that if everything goes as planned, he's gonna use this whole system to get back to Peggy. And like, honestly, it does make sense with his character and with the arc he's been going through. It completely disregards his arc with Bucky, but it fits one arc, it just doesn't fit the other. It's like Steve had multiple arcs going on, and there was physically, I think, no way for him to complete both. And to think when I first watched that movie, I thought that little scene there with Peggy was the closest we were gonna get to a Steve-Peggy reunion. And I was like, oh, that's sweet. He got to see her again when she was younger. That's really sweet here. Little did I know. This is just so stressful because it's like neither of them deserve this. This literally isn't fair. Like, I think Nat actually dying upsets me more, and it being Nat, like, I care more about her, but then the thought of his family losing him is also heartbreaking, and it's like, I don't want that to happen to his family. But like the one, like, in terms of seeing one of them die, Nat upsets me way more. It's just a lose-lose. That's just heartbreaking. It's like they knew we would be way more upset if it was Nat dying versus Clint, and they really wanted to upset us, didn't they? Did Nebula not tell them that one of them was gonna have to sacrifice themselves? He literally said that Thanos went there and then came back without his daughter. So she knew. Did she not warn them?
I was made for this.
Because I guess gamma radiation can withstand the Infinity Stones. I guess that makes sense. I'm just going with it. I'm not smart enough to question any of this.
Good to go? Yeah?
But also they made it where it's too small to fit him. How does he get it on? I can't remember.
We're just bringing them back to now, today. Don't change anything from the last 5 years.
Got it.
But like, he could also maybe think, also bring back Natasha, also bring back Gamora, also bring back Loki. Like, he could think all those things as well. Like Thor, put in a request. Hey, Loki. Like the one who's gone through Thor Ragnarok. He can maybe come back. The Infinity Gauntlet has no rules. Just make your request. It could work. Oh, okay, they were able to make it expand. Okay, got it. It's kind of hard to snap in that thing with it being like metal. I don't know. I would have struggled, especially when you're struggling with it being the power of the Infinity Gauntlet. It's kind of hard to snap then. I love how that's the first sign of everything being back to normal, is that they're like more birds in the trees all of a sudden. Because like it killed out half of the animal populations as well, so it's like there was half the amount of birds flying in the sky as there usually was, and all of a sudden, oh, that's a lot of birds. And then chaos begins, and also one of the best overall huge scenes in the whole MCU, and the thing that makes this movie my favorite Marvel movie. It's so crazy how that huge explosion that just happened made this area look unrecognizable. Like, this is the whole Avengers complex area, And it looks, because of the clouds and the smoke and the debris and everything, it looks like they're on another planet, almost. Like, it doesn't look like New York. It doesn't look like anywhere on Earth anymore. I love this here, like, Iron Man, Cap, and Thor being the ones approaching. Like, ultimately, in a sense, it's out of the like, big six or whatever, the iconic six from Avengers, the three kind of most popular and iconic ones of the six. Also the three that got their first solo movies. If we don't include the Incredible Hulk movie, Iron Man, and then Thor, and then Captain America. It's like they started it, and they're like beginning the ending of this saga here before all the others come in. Oh my god, here we go, guys. Here we go. Probably my #1 favorite moment in the whole MCU, possibly.
I knew it.
The payoff to the scene in Age of Ultron that I have been waiting for years. Just one of the greatest moments, showing how Cap is worthy, just like Thor. Oh, it's so good. It's so well done. It's such a payoff. It fits so well. This is perfect. This is everything I ever wanted. It's so good. Just the image of him using his iconic shield and the iconic hammer together, it's like, that's just so cool. It's so cool. And it's my second favorite moment in all of MCU history right here.
On your left.
Oh my god, and then the first ones we see are from Wakanda, and it's Black Panther and Shuri. And the score. I could hear the score anywhere and know exactly what it is, what moment it is. Oh, and all the portals. Oh, he's so cool. He's so cool. Oh my god. Oh, and then Spider-Man. Oh, and look at him. Oh, and look at him. Look at that shot. Look at his hair. Look at that. That is just beautiful. Oh, and Valkyrie. Oh, and Wanda. Oh, I forgot. Oh my god, Hope. I forgot that, like, all of the, like, Doctor Strange trainees were there, and Pepper Potts in her suit. I love her in that suit. We needed more of her in that suit. She's so cool. There's just so much happening. There's so much happening. Look at that. Oh my god, look at Spider-Man. Oh my god.
Assemble.
Oh my god. Can we talk about how that's just like one of the greatest moments in cinematic history? Can we talk about that? Because that was one of the greatest moments in cinematic history right there. It was just perfect. It was literally every single second of that was perfect. Oh my god, oh my god. And then this is just like the most exciting thing to watch in the world, because everywhere you look, there's something cool happening with a character you love. Everywhere. Oh my god, look at Pepper go. Look at her. Oh my god, oh my god. I love that. I love that so much. Oh my god.
Oh, this is nice.
And that just fits so well with what Tony says in Homecoming, where he's like, I don't do hugs, we're not, or he said, we're not there yet, or something. And then look at that, now he's there, they're there now.
Anyone see an ugly brown van out there?
Yes, but you're not gonna like where it's parked.
See, now we're back to the thing where, like, I get that maybe, like, the Avengers that have been there this whole time in this area have their little, like, earpieces in to where they can hear each other. But, like, how does Valkyrie all of a sudden have one? How can they all just all of a sudden hear each other? Did they all get the memo to, oh, wear your earpiece that connects with everyone else's earpieces so we can all talk to each other during the battle? When did that communication happen? Oh my god, oh my god. This is amazing. She's literally the most powerful. Look at her. Look at her. Look at this. Literally, she's taking on Thanos on her own. No help. No help needed. Because, you know, Wanda's Wanda. We love her.
But sire, our troops, just do it!
Literally, she would have killed him if he hadn't done that there. She would have defeated him all on her own. She's brilliant. The way this conveys here, like how, we have to remember, no matter how powerful Spider-Man is, he is still literally like a 16-year-old kid. This is very intense for someone so young, and especially with not that much experience in the whole big battle arena.
Friday, what are they firing at?
The other most powerful person in this whole world besides Wanda, obviously, Captain Marvel. Look at her. Oh, just casually destroying that humongous ship there.
Don't worry. She's got help.
Hi, this made me cry in theaters. This literally made me cry. Seeing all of these characters that I love so dearly, and Hope, and Gamora, and Nebula, just all of them there together. Like, I wish Nat could have been there with them, because that is just one of the most powerful shots ever. Just seeing how far we've come since Iron Man, and then Iron Man 2, where all we had was Black Widow. She was the beginning of it, and seeing where we've come in 11 years since Iron Man, when this came out, seeing how many amazing heroes we have now that are women is just amazing. The way that she, oh my god, the way that she does that. The way, look at her. Look at how she's doing this. The way that when I saw that, I knew exactly what was coming. I could not believe it, but I knew what was happening then. Because I knew some big sacrifice of one of our core characters had to happen. You can't have an epic final conclusion of a whole saga of movies like this without a big sacrifice.
And I am Iron Man.
I adore that callback to the first movie. That's just such a fitting full circle moment for Tony as a character and for the MCU as a whole. It's so brilliant, but it's so heartbreaking. Oh, I didn't realize War Machine's suit here during this battle is so red. Like, it's halfway an Iron Man type suit. Like, color-wise.
Mr. Stark, can you hear me? It's Peter. You are Mr. Stark. What? You did it, sir. You did it.
Why does Peter have to say all the lines that made me start crying? Why is Tom Holland so good at his job? It's not fair.
We're gonna be okay. You can rest now.
Oh. It's like Tony's death there, it fits his arc perfectly, but the way that it still is just so upsetting and unfair, because like the fact that he never gets to be with Pepper or his daughter again is just so frustrating. His way of like going on the MCU is he could have been with his family and lived happily ever after, and we could all just be like, okay, Tony's retired, he's done, right? But we know that that would never work. We know if he was still alive in the MCU, he would never let any other dangers happen without him helping. He would help every single time, you know? So really the only way to fully get him out of the story was to kill him. They couldn't do a thing kind of like Captain where he just went back to the 40s and left them all there. No. Oh my god, but this is like literally here in this funeral scene, like every MCU character, like of the main ones, of the main heroes, I think it's literally everyone except for the ones that are dead and Gamora. It's just also so crazy seeing all these people like in that funeral scene, all of these characters that we have come to know and love over all the movies, literally all in one spot together. not fighting, like all just standing there, is just kind of surreal to see. It's also so weird seeing this scene here to know that within a matter of weeks, the events of WandaVision are gonna start. Like, Wanda barely got a break. Immediately goes into this crazy new adventure.
As Guardians of the Galaxy back together again. Oh, where to first?
I love this, him just like inserting himself within, like with them. It's so great.
Everybody knows who's in charge. Me.
I love that. That pause. It's like, oh, it's so good.
Gonna miss you, buddy.
It's gonna be okay, Buck.
That leads me to believe that Bucky knows. He knows it's gonna happen.
Well, get him back. I'm trying. Get him the hell back.
Yeah, son, I'm trying.
Sam.
I feel like Bucky knew. I feel like Bucky would have been freaking out more. It's like, as soon as he saw it didn't work, he turned away, and it looked like there was like a confirmation of on his face of like, oh, it worked, he's back with Peggy. That's crazy though, after living in like modern day with modern day technology and movies and all that stuff. Even though, yeah, the love of your life is back in the 40s, it's like after you experience modern day type technology, I don't know if you'd want to go back. I remember freaking out at this in the theaters. I could not believe we were actually getting this. I never thought it would actually happen. It really is so bittersweet. Especially if you really are a fan of them as a couple in the first movie, like I was when I first watched it. I can't believe it's over. Like, not, you know, the MCU, like, obviously, we're gonna be getting more. I'm talking about this marathon, I can't believe it's over. I'm, like, actually kind of crying about it, just a little bit. I think also just the process of watching all those movies within such a small time span, which is way different than how it was for me when I watched this franchise the first time all the way through, where it was, you know, a couple every year, and I didn't go back and like rewatch them all a lot. It was a very drawn out process for me. Oh my god, these credits here are just beautiful. I love these credits. So watching them all again within the span of about a month and a half-ish, it really makes the whole thing so much more emotional. I can't imagine how it is for people who marathon it quicker than that, like people who aren't filming videos. Because when you're not filming, you can watch all these way easier. Like, you don't have to get ready to film or anything. You can just watch them all on TV. And I feel like that would be an even crazier ride, watching them all within, like, the span of a week. That's just one of the greatest rides ever, though, honestly. These credits here, where they're literally giving credit to pretty much everyone who's been some sort of relevant character within this world. It reminds me of the Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 2 credits, where they literally credit every single character that's been in any of the movies, and the credits are beautiful, and they show images of all them. Kind of similar credits in Endgame here, not gonna lie. Oh, here we go. We're about to get to the main ones, and the music, and we're gonna get the signatures, and we're gonna get me crying again, probably. Just like how it was in theaters. You guys should have seen me in theaters. It was a mix between me freaking out and screaming internally, and then sobbing for the whole last, like, hour. Oh my god, look at that. Oh, look at that. That is such a good little silhouette of him. And I love how it's like their signature, like them writing it. That's just beautiful. Oh, and the music swell here. Oh my god. Oh my god. Honestly, not gonna lie, I forgot about those credits. I forgot they were gonna happen. So I wasn't expecting there to be anything that was gonna make me cry again. So that's it, everyone. That's it. I don't even know where to begin / end this video right now. That's my favorite movie in the whole MCU. Honestly, the thing that really makes it the #1 for me are just a couple of key scenes. A, Steve Rogers catching or summoning Mjolnir, Thor's hammer. I always feel like I'm pronouncing the name wrong, but Mjolnir. I think that's the closest I'm gonna get to saying it right. 2, The portal moment with Sam saying "on your left," having that callback to Winter Soldier, and instead of Steve saying it, it's Sam saying it there, which is just, I love that. And then everyone showing up through the portals and it just looking so epic. And then them all grouping together and Steve Rogers finally saying Avengers Assemble, one of just the most iconic moments in all of cinema history. It's just, it can't be beat. It can't be beat. And then also the moment whenever all of the incredibly powerful women who have become a part of this franchise all grouping together to help out Peter Parker. As someone who, you know, Spider-Man is my favorite superhero, so just all of the scenes with him were amazing. And then that, plus then getting to see all of them, some of them being some of my top favorite characters as well. It was just so satisfying and just felt so powerful. And it just felt so incredible. Like I said, whenever it was on, like, just seeing it go from just Black Widow to start with, and then for a while, not really any other, like, female superheroes, to then go to all of them. There was so many of them, and they are all so cool. And seeing them all together like that is just such a powerful moment. And then, not even to go into all of the super fun and super cool time travel scenes, bringing back some of the most iconic moments in the MCU history, like the Battle of New York in 2012, and that opening moment with Chris Pratt at the opening of Guardians of the Galaxy, which is one of my favorite moments in the whole franchise. And just seeing Steve and Tony's arcs come to an end, it's just really bittersweet and heartbreaking for Tony. For Steve, I think the word for me really is just, it's bittersweet, and it's just fitting, because I totally get 100%, like 120%, I get the whole thing about how Cap would never leave Bucky. I don't think he would either, but then also it's like, I understand why he did, and like I get it, especially after seeing her again when they were in New Jersey in 1970. It fits with what I think Steve would do as of him being in Captain America: The First Avenger. Like, that's the Steve that I think would make that decision. Now, we get to Winter Soldier Steve, and that one, I don't know. It's like, it's weird just kind of how the different writers and how the different directors kind of portrayed Steve. I feel like the First Avenger him would 100%, that's what he would have done in this situation. But Winter Soldier him, I feel like, would have been way more conflicted about it. He would have, or there maybe would have been another scene or two between him and Bucky. Like, that could have maybe fixed that whole complaint, is if there could have maybe been another scene between them or something. Not something spoiling that he's gonna go and do that, because then that ruins it for the audience, but just, I don't know, something showing that Bucky's gonna be okay without him, or that Bucky, like, understands. It could be something vague. I don't know. I don't know how to fix it, because I feel like, just for me, it's like, I want the conclusion to both of those arcs of Steve's. I want there to be a really bittersweet, amazing conclusion to his arc with Bucky, and then I want the same thing for his arc with Peggy, because I do care about their relationship, and I have been a fan of their relationship, especially in 2015. Over time, it's gotten to be where, like, are they one of my favorite Marvel couples? No. They're not. I love Agent Carter as a character, but we just didn't get enough of them two together for them to be like a really favorite couple of mine. They were more a couple I adored in 2015 when I initially watched it, so I kind of see it way more just from the full circle moment, the character arc that Steve went through of his journey with Peggy and his journey of being like a man at a time, and like, it just kind of makes sense, him going back to that time. It never seemed like he fit necessarily in this time. He didn't really have time to fit because he was constantly fighting bad guys and doing these battles and going through conflicts and stuff, but it does make sense to me what he did. I just wish there could have been a way that he could have done it and also had a fitting ending with Bucky as well. I don't know how that could have been done, but I wished it could have been done. I just think that this is, Avengers Endgame really is a perfect conclusion to the Infinity Saga in so many ways. Does it have its flaws? Yes. it's not a perfect movie. It isn't, and I can totally see that, and I can see how so many other of the Marvel movies people prefer over this one. I see it, that's valid. For me, just with this one, with how so many of the arcs wrapped up and how many callbacks we got, or how many fitting things, fitting conclusions we got, like the callback of Age of Ultron where Steve almost wiggles the handle a little bit to then hear him full on catching it, proving he is worthy to wield the power of Thor and all that. Seeing stuff like that and getting to see Loki escape, starting the events of the Loki show, and getting to see Pepper Potts in her epic suit that I love, and just seeing all of these characters that I have been introduced to and fallen in love with over a decade or whatever. It's just so satisfying for me. And as I've said before, my favorite movies in the whole MCU have always been the team up movies for me. Most of my favorites in those top sections are those. So it just makes sense with how I am as a person that my favorite in the whole franchise would be the one where literally all of the characters from the past 22 movies are all together, or 21 movies, not counting Far From Home. So that's it. That's it. In terms of my ranking of the MCU, it has definitely changed. Definitely. The main highlights for me out of this rewatch has been just how much I really do love Tony Stark as a character. I think I'd forgotten how much I really do love him, and how much I really love Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. He was born to play Tony Stark. Literally born to play him. And then the other kind of surprising new things that kind of came out of this rewatch, how much I love Doctor Strange. Not just as a character, but his movie is actually so good. Like, legitimately one of the most underrated Marvel movies in my opinion. So excited for the Multiverse of Madness. And then also, how much I adore Scott and Hope as characters. They've bumped their way up now to being within my top favorite characters. Also Pepper Potts as well. I love Pepper. This has also just made me so excited for the future of Marvel also. Like, I've been excited, obviously. I've been so excited for Black Widow and for Eternals and Shang-Chi and the What If show, all the shows that are going to be coming, all the new movies that are going to be coming. I've been so excited for all of them, but watching all these movies again so close together this past month and a half has just heightened my excitement by a trillion. I've never loved a franchise more than I love this one. As I talked about when I first started this series, I don't think there's a big movie franchise out there that tops the MCU for me. I used to think that maybe Star Wars could be more preferred in my brain, or maybe Harry Potter, but just over the course of the last, I'd say 3 to 4-ish months, I've come to realize no. I love them. I adore Harry Potter and I adore Star Wars. I love Star Wars so much, but I don't think any Star Wars movie has made me cry as much as some of these movies make me cry. I don't think I care as much about any of the Harry Potter characters as much as I care about these characters. Don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure I did cry in some of the Harry Potter movies, and especially Goblet of Fire and then Deathly Hallows Part 2. And I have, for sure, cried in Star Wars movies, and when we're just talking about my crying throughout the franchises, because I am it's easy for me to cry. I cry at a bunch of things. I cry at happy stuff. It's ridiculous, I know, but sometimes it is how I kind of determine what I really truly care about in franchises. I think Marvel just has a one-up against Star Wars in the fact that it has more movies out. Even though Star Wars has been around, like, as a franchise for way longer, Marvel has 23 movies out. Star Wars has, I think, 11 movies, and then the couple of shows we have. And I haven't even seen all the shows. I'm working my way through them. But I just love Marvel so much. It really is like a comfort piece of media for me. Some of the times that I feel the most happy is watching Marvel stuff, thinking about it, watching like cast behind the scenes moments, watching the like press junkets and interviews that they go on, like the ones that they did for Infinity War and like Age of Ultron and all of those. Those are some of my favorite things to watch on YouTube. They're just some of the most happy things ever. They make me smile so much. And like reading people's theories and thoughts and analyses of the Marvel movies online and talking about them with people, it just, not much else in life makes me happier than all of that. So that's it. I don't really know how to wrap this up. It just feels weird. That's it for my Marvel Cinematic Universe marathon prior to watching Black Widow. I wanted to have all these up before Black Widow came out, but you know, life, it's difficult. So these will be coming out around when Black Widow comes out. At least my phase 1 video should be coming out hopefully before Black Widow comes out, and then all the others will be right after Black Widow comes out. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this series. It has been a long ride for me. It's been a lot of work, so I really do hope that you guys have enjoyed it. Please, please let me know down below in the comments, what is your favorite MCU movie? Or what's your ranking, if you have a ranking? Or who are your favorite characters? Which Marvel movie do you think is the most underrated? Which Marvel character do you think is the most underrated? Is there a really popular Marvel movie like a Thor Ragnarok or like a Winter Soldier or something like that that you are in the minority of where you aren't that big of a fan of it? I want to know. Please let me know. I want to talk Marvel in the comments with you guys. I want to talk all about this franchise, so please let me know all of your thoughts. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, be sure to follow me on my social media. My Instagram is @RachelRimini, my Twitter is @Rachel_Rimini, and my letterboxd is just my name, Rachel Rimini. I love talking about Marvel on both my Instagram and my Twitter, so definitely follow me there if you want to see more of my thoughts on when the trailers come out, or when there's big theories that happen, or big twists and shocks and surprises, or casting news or stuff like that then trends or whatever on Twitter, because I'm always talking about it. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye!
Over meadows, inside sprung grass, lungs breathing in the darkness.